Hey stream, how you doing? So I thought I'd put on the Nier OST today. For a special occasion. I was going to do this yesterday, but happy doing it today. So, might turn down the music a little bit. There we go. So, today we'll probably do a bit of Animal Crossing, but I thought I'd try something different today to commemorate the fact that I have an avatar that I feel like I can present stuff a bit better. I mean, I could always just use the cam, but you know, I think avatar works right now, or I want to try it at least. And I probably won't stick with the same avatar. This is probably just one I've gotten at the moment, just so I can learn the software and how this all works. So, yeah. But yeah, I'll switch over. So, ta-da! So, I thought something different today is I might actually, hang on, I might just change something. That'll do. I thought I would do a little roundup of the news for gaming and stuff at the moment. For those who don't know, I am a massive video game nerd. I follow everything news related to it. I talk about it all the time. It's like my personal obsession is the industry. So I thought maybe daily I could put a little recap of like the news each day. And then from there I could move into actually what I might do is I might edit the stream. I wonder if you can just chat. Is it talk shows and is that the thing that everyone puts themselves in? I guess. Update? Just try that, I guess. I don't know. I'll have to check that in a sec. Hang on, let's go to Twitch. Let's see what do people put themselves in when they are just chatting. So hopefully this is muted. Muted? Alright, don't do that. Maybe there's a category just called Just Chatting. Just Chatting? Just Chatting. Just Chatting. There we go, that'll do. That's better. That's probably better. But yeah, so I thought I'd go through some of the news that's come out in the day or during the week, or stuff I just want to talk about. I think it's just a good little space. I mean, I'll probably end up doing this stuff anyway during whatever I'm playing, but some games are a bit more intensive than others, so I can't talk about them as much. Yeah. So let's try this. So like, I mean, the big one right now is Nier Replicant remake. Now, I don't want digital trans. I want. Oh, there's some weird news pages. Really, what I should probably log down the stuff. So yeah, if you haven't seen this trailer, let's put on. Is it this one? Yeah, the mini browser. All right. So this trailer dropped for Nier or Replicant, or Gestalt, whichever one you want to call it. A thing that we never thought would happen. As a big fan of Drakengard and Nier, we never thought that Yoko Taro's older games would ever get touched again, but considering the success that was Automata, looks like Square decided to go back on that, and now we have a upcoming game. So it looks like it's just a remake. It looks like it just, and the way that the interviews and all the articles talked about it was that too. But yeah, super excited for this. Who knows if anything will be changed, because the game is now called 1.224 whatever. Apparently that's the square root of 1.5, which, if it's near 1.5, that makes sense. Probably will have a little bit of changes. Apparently there's going to be more tie-ins to Automata, like with having both the voice actors for, or assumed there might be some sort of tie-in or some references to Automata's universe, because there was no real, at the end of Replicant, there was no like, the only thing you got at the end of the game was really like Mel's surviving and then him appearing in the next game. It wasn't like a lot of other stuff. But with yeah, let's turn that down a slight more. With this, they could actually make some changes. The developer group is one of the supporting ones that does a lot of other companies, like cleanup crew and stuff. They have made a few games themselves. I can't remember the name off the top of my head right now. I think it's Toy Logic. Yeah, Toy Logic. They like people probably recognize like some of the games, or quite a few of the games they've worked on. So it's hard to tell if it's in-house, in-house Square plus Toy Logic, or Toy Logic is mostly manning it. But at least all of these titles are pretty popular and loved, and so I have confidence that it'll come out well. But just to have a HD version of Nier will be fantastic. I'm just happy enough for that. Shit, if we got some extra music maybe from Keiichi Okabe, if Yoko Taro like got to flesh out some stuff that he didn't get to in the past, that would be fantastic. He's been going nuts with the amount of like plays and books and just stuff, and he's just inserting things everywhere. There's little bits and pieces in various other extra media, in crossover games. yeah, so I'm excited. I'm very excited. Uh, yeah, just and the new artwork looks fantastic too. The little set pieces. One thing that people have been pointing out is that Brother Nier, because it looks like we might have Brother Nier, because of the fact it says even here, a young, kind-hearted boy. So, if for those who don't know, in Nier actually got two different versions. The one that went to Japan, and then the one that came to the West. In Japan, they got a brother and sister relationship. In the West, we got a father-daughter relationship, and Papa Nier is like very different. Like I'll show you an example. Like Brother Nier. So this is Brother Nier's design. He's very. He's got a very, very strong design. It's my brother's favorite design. I really like it, but we didn't get it in the West. You can play. There was a copy that I think had both versions, so you could actually swap which one you were in the West, but that came later, I believe. And then there's Papa Nier, and Papa Nier is the one that I played with. People he's got people call him the ugly one because if he wears this silly face thing, and his design is a lot more brutish. He's more like a barbarian and stuff. I think it's fine. I mean, I think that the dub that we got in the West for English was very strong, like very, very, very strong. And Papa Nier's voice acting was really good, so I was totally okay with just getting that, personally. So if we get Papa Nier, that I'd be really chuffed about that, but if it's just Brother Nier, that's fine too, I guess. It's a bit of a different relationship between the brother and sister rather than father and daughter, but I don't think it takes away from the story. The only thing I feel it does change the Kaine relationship, because Kaine kind of has a romantic relationship with the protagonist, but it's not super explicit. It's not really like a flow through the entire game. It's just they have a relationship, and then there's some romantic feelings that sort of get revealed throughout the story, but it's not the point of the story. It plays into it a bit, because Yoko Taro's writing is amazing. He's one of the best writers in the industry right now, and yeah. So that's I've said my little piece on Nier. I'm super excited about this. I wait for more information. It's one of those things that once we learn more about it, it will be nice. But I feel like it might take a little bit before we see anything too solid about it. Yeah. Moving on. Oh yeah, there was also a mobile game that was teased as well, which I'm not sure I care too much about that in terms of playing it, because I'm not the biggest mobile player anymore. But it looks like some sort of bridge of storytelling. Like you can see like familiar characters like Emil floating there and stuff, and possibly Kaine. This character, I'm not sure who that is meant to be, but yeah, very much I will have to know the story from that. And I think the story, again, like Yoko Taro worked on I've forgotten the name of the game. It's the mobile game that he worked on that is basically it's about fairy tale characters, but they redo through his lens, and yeah, they're very good stories as well. There's also a reference. There's Automata characters in that as well. So yeah, other news. Let's see. Oh yeah, this one I used to play Ragnarok. I don't know who else might have played this, but we're starting to get our first screenshots of Ragnarok Origin. It's not Ragnarok 2. It's Ragnarok redo, essentially. Like it's like a 3D version and stuff, and it's though we'll see how it goes, because in recent news the Maple Story 2, which I played also, is closing globally. The Japanese one went first, now global, and we have no idea how long the Korean one might last. They play games a little different, so I guess we'll see. But yeah, whether or not this can survive, it's hard to say. You can also tell, like, I wonder whether or not this is made for mobile, because the textures aren't the strongest. So this might actually be made for mobile first. Or it's meant to be, it's using the old textures from Ragnarok deliberately to just evoke the same feeling. I don't know. It's hard to say, because this isn't how Ragnarok worked. Ragnarok didn't have 3D models. They were 2D sprites. That you change the camera angle and stuff like that. I'll give an example. Is this a good example? Yeah, so like this is a good example, I guess. So yeah, like you can see that they're like, hang on, we'll find a video. Video is probably a better example. No, I don't want to hear you. Again, it was another Korean MMO, and it was they're very social games. They're very social MMOs. They're not how normal ones sort of worked. Or more Western ones. But if they want to do it and see if it survives a little bit, that's cool. But it feels like it might be out of time, and they might need to approach it in a different way, which is a bit disappointing because of how people treat microtransactions and stuff these days. You would think that it would be they would be all right, but I guess not. Moving on again. We have news of, this was pretty big. I woke up this morning, and at first I didn't quite believe it, but then I started seeing it more and more. Hang on, I'll go to. So there's multiple sources on this. So it seems like it might be real. I've seen quite a lot of this, which is Nintendo has big plans for the 35th anniversary. Now, it's a lot of it seems to be insinuating that we are going to see remakes, or not remakes, remasters, I would assume. I doubt remakes in any capacity for various Mario platformers. And so here we go. There's a couple of tweets going around. This is one, I think. Editions are being remastered for this year. 64, Sunshine, Galaxy 1 and 2, and the 3D World game. As long as reconfirming a new Paper Mario, which, well, for those who don't know, the last Paper Mario was not the best. It was alright. It was a bit sort of gimmicky. It wasn't really as RPG like as the previous ones. And yeah, confirming 64 Sunshine Galaxy 1 and 2, like, that's a pretty big deal. So if that's real, this is definitely set of favorables. I really hope not. But that is a good point. It is the 31st today, which reminds me, I'm glad that because that's reminded me that I do need to set up for my bank in Animal Crossing. But yeah, 64 Sunshine Galaxy 3D World, they are all good games. I'm not as much of a fan of Galaxies because I wasn't a fan of the 3D planet movement stuff, and 3D World was alright. But Sunshine is my favorite 3D Mario platformer, so if I could get to play it again in HD and some remastered sounds and all that, I'm pretty down for that. That was probably the big news of today. The Replicant news was from the other day, but I just really wanted to talk about it because I really like Replicant. That new game Ninjala is put out a very high budget looking it's like an episode. You can go check it out in your own time, but yeah, so Ninjala is like this. It's like a it kind of looks like it's Gunslinger Stratos, all those sort of arena shooters. It looks like it's one aimed at kids, but it's on consoles and it's in the West. Like, the West will have access to it. So I think that we're going to see a very different sort of approach. This is a Japanese approach to it, because Ninjala is from Gung Ho Studios, which they're not really known for a lot. Hang on, I'll get the company. So yeah, so in recent years they've made things like the Puzzles and Dragons games, Grandia, Let It Die, Ragnarok Odyssey. I didn't know that. Yeah, so it's like they've got some notable games, but they're not like a crazy studio that people would know, I don't think. But the gameplay is a bit probably not my thing. It very, like, you'll notice it's very Splatoon-like, and it looks like it marries a few of the modern Nintendo-esque visual aesthetics. It kind of has a Western feel to it when I look at it, but it's very Japanese, obviously. So yeah, I think this game has some possibility to be a real success. Like, Splatoon never clicked with me. I just always found it a bit, I don't know. I'm not a console shooter fan, but yeah, this game looks interesting and could be fun. But yeah, it's got this. It looks like they're trying to release these very high detail cutscene cinematic things, but it labeled in episode 0. So whether or not they're going to make like a mini series, who knows? But yeah, I mean, the joke is that it's to compete with Overwatch's approach to all of this, and people are already talking about how, like, oh, there's more lore being presented direct to the player than Overwatch in game. But Overwatch has lore, it's just not in the game mostly because of it didn't structure itself right. But it looks like people are pretty positive about this game so far. We'll see when people get hands on it, I guess, whether or not that'll be fun. Persona 5 apparently Persona 5 Scramble is still not confirmed to have a Western release. Like, people are still, there's a survey going out in Japan and online whether or not it should come over here. It should be just a given. Atlas is just being silly again. Is there anything else? I think that's mostly... Oh, there's another thing for fighting game fans. We have... the reveal of Vegeta. So this actually got leaked slightly just before the actual release. The proper reveal was supposed to happen. Though I don't think the date was anything too special. I don't think it was tied to any actual real-world events. A lot of fighting game news is revealed at tournaments that are related to whatever that company's working at. So like Arxis and Cygames, I don't think we're running anything. So Cygames being the gacha company that makes Granblue, Arc System being the fighting game company that is making it, and they make the Dragon Ball Fighters game, Guilty Gear, BlazBlue. But yeah, so for people who are fans of Granblue and they know Vegeta, she's a very popular character. I'm told that she is the most popular character in Granblue. I used to play Granblue, but I fell off because I stopped playing phone games more and more and more. It is a gacha. It's very gacha-y, but it's really good. It's a really fun game. It's a very good JRPG with the gacha system. But yeah, Vegeta is coming to the game now. She's basically so a good example is Vegeta and Gran are actually the same character technically in lore. When you play the game, you play the Gran or Vegeta. Vegeta is the female palette swap basically, but in external media, example the anime and the OVAs, Vegeta is actually the gacha whale. She's got a different personality. She's bright and bubbly, and she's sort of gung-ho. Gran is a bit more typical shonen. He's a bit more like caring but forceful. Vegeta is, I guess, she's the whale. She has she's purchased all the costumes. She has all the weapons. Yeah, and then that is represented in Versus with her special. So here is Gran's special. They show it off. Is Gran's special, his final attack, is he summons Bahamut. But Vegeta's summons Bahamut, but then she goes into the celestial weapons. And yeah, they don't show the full animation, which is I'm fine with that. We'll see it when it comes out. But yeah, that was pretty cool. I'm excited for Vegeta. And my girl. Another bit of news that is probably got people excited is Mountain Blade. So if people who don't know, Mountain Blade is Mountain Blade 2 Bannerlord has been in development for a very, very, very long time. And we weren't quite sure when it was going to get revealed, or if it was going to get axed, or what the heck was happening with it. But now it's actually on the Steam now for early access. I probably will wait. There's so much to play right now, but it looks interesting. I hope it's fun. I hope it's not super janky, because the first one had a lot of Euro jank to it, it felt like. It is one of those typical hack and slashy sort of build a fortress ones, but it has a lot more extra mechanics like mounted combat, siege. You can build up stuff. There's a lot of mod support, and yeah, it looks all right for early access, but it's one of those things that this is all pre-roll footage. So wait until you see people get their hands on it, whether or not it's like, oh, this is actually really bad, or this needs more time in the oven or whatever. But it looks all right. So it's early access for 63 Australian at the moment, or 70 Australian, but 10% discount for early access. Yeah. So hopefully that's good. The review thread of Resident Evil has just gone up for RE3. I'm probably not going to play RE3. I'm not a horror fan. I can appreciate Resident Evil. I always have. I like the idea of survival horror more than just horror. But yeah, it looks like it's doing alright. A lot of 8s to 9s. Like it's not killing it. It's not 10 out of 10s, but I think people are being a bit more critical over this one just because RE2 is so beloved, and RE2 is so beloved, and then RE3 kind of like people like. Yeah, see, it's like I spent a few thousand explaining why RE3 wasn't as good as RE2, but it's like, yeah, people I think click more with RE2 more than 1, and 2 more than 3 as well. I think if RE4 ever gets made, people will be all over that. RE4 is much beloved also. But yeah, I think it'll still be a gangbusters numbers game. And it's probably a good thing it came out when it did, because FF7 being right around the corner, I think those two games, as much as they're different games, one's a JRPG, one's a survival horror, or 7's now an action RPG, I guess, but they're both very similar in terms of like a Japanesey sort of demographic-y sort of mass purchase, like a bulk of casual players will get both games just from knowing the name alone. This is probably a little just news I care about. So this is so I'm a big fan of Platinum. Probably talked about it a few times. Some of my favorite games are Platinum games, or games made by Platinum employees, including like Devil May Cry and stuff. But yeah, so the former Platinum CEO is now backing the new Capcom studio. I don't think they've reported about it, but if they bring back Shinji Mikami, the idea that bringing them back would be able to produce some of their older games and stuff, but it's hard to say what they'll be working on. I believe. I'm just gonna quickly scan them, make sure I'm not saying the wrong thing. Okay, this article's mostly talking about Mikami, but yeah, I think it's interesting news. Well, I think it's something to keep an eye on personally. I think that's all for today. So, I mean, I don't know how long I'll do these little chatty things, or whether or not I'll do them every day. But I like covering video game news. I think that the industry is always so exciting to watch what's happening, how things are changing, being ahead of the game in terms of like knowing stuff. I'm not a spoiler person. Like I don't care about spoilers for things a lot of the time, but I do like to control my own news intake. So putting yourself out there, looking into things is super cool. Like example, that Nintendo Direct that happened the other night for us was we were about to go to bed, and then the Nintendo Direct, which had been rumored was coming, suddenly dropped, and it was like, whoa, okay. And there was like not a huge amount, but there was some things that were really big in there, like Bravely Default 2, and the fact that there's a new Smash character. And I mean, if I had done this a bit earlier, I could have talked about this too. But yeah, I think if some of that stuff happened while I was streaming, I probably would live talk over stuff like that, because I know that with things like the Game Awards and E3, which isn't happening this year. This year's a bit of a funny year for all that stuff, so who knows if any of that will happen, or if it'll be mostly online. But it's always been fun to watch them live and talk with friends and all that stuff. Like if you watch like say the Giant Bomb or Vinny or Vine Source or some of those ones, that they're very funny to watch while you're doing it. So it's like I don't know if I would want to do what they're doing, or if I just want to watch their streams, because I just enjoy watching them myself. They're also very knowledgeable, particularly the Giant Bomb one. They're very much they're having industry veterans critique stuff like that is always amazing, because they get some insight and predictability that you would not really have from normal people generally. Cool. Alright, well, I might switch over to Animal Crossing now. So, I might quickly BRB while I set that up. And hopefully... Do you know what I just realized this entire time? Is I haven't had the screen up. That's silly. Alright, I might cut that for YouTube, I guess. But yeah, I have to remember to turn off the studio mode. Alright, well, I might switch over to Animal Crossing now and do a bit of that. I'll be right back.